Good day, good people. Welcome to Love, Lust, Lies. Before we dive into today's story, let us know which city you're tuning in from. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if the story meets your expectations. Let's get started. My name is Nathan Ward. I'm 34 years old and have been married to Nicole for 12 years. One evening, as we sat at the dining table for dinner, Nicole made an announcement that was both shocking and, oddly, unsurprising. She declared that she wanted to take a lover. Without hesitation, I simply replied, "Okay." I'm a highly successful inventor and technical writer, owning a small manufacturing plant. While these accomplishments might impress others, they hold little meaning for me. To me, money is nothing more than a scorekeeping tool, and I've never been interested in the game. Nicole, however, is the exact opposite. She thrives on appearances and social climbing. Every year, she insists on buying a brand new luxury car. We're members of the town's most exclusive country club, and we live in a sprawling 20-room McMansion. Nicole was clear early in our marriage that children wouldn't be part of our life. Her decision, not mine. While Nicole surrounds herself with extravagance, I find contentment in simplicity. I drive a 6-year-old 4x4 pickup truck and spend my free time at a modest lakefront property. My cozy 4-room cottage is my sanctuary, complete with a 16-foot pontoon boat, a 12-foot V-hull fishing boat, a 4-seat UTV, and my big, affectionate dog, Junior. Nicole refuses to visit the cottage and barely acknowledges Junior's existence. She won't pet him and insists he stay in a kennel in the garage. I've always noticed these differences, but never made a fuss. Money, after all, has never been my motivator. That Friday evening, as we prepared for yet another lavish charity event at the country club, a night of dancing and pretense Nicole loved, she dropped her bombshell. As she looked up from her plate, she said, "Nathan, I want to take a lover." Calmly, I met her gaze and replied, "Okay, Nikki. On Monday, I'll have my attorney draft the divorce papers. You can have the house, but I won't be paying the mortgage. You can keep your car, but don't expect a new one. I'll settle $600,000 with you. That's $50,000 for every year we've been married. But there will be no alimony, and I won't fund your spending any longer. From that point on, you'll be entirely on your own." Leaning back in my chair, I waited for her response. Shock washed over her face, and she sputtered, "Aren't you even going to fight for me, or ask why?" She added quickly, "I didn't say anything about divorce. I love you." "No, you don't," I replied sharply. "Nikki, if you love me, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't be living in this house, attending that country club, or parading around in your luxury car. I indulged you because it made you happy, and I could afford it. But now, you're telling me I'm not enough. Is taking a lover your new status symbol? Or am I somehow inadequate? Do I fail you in the bedroom? Or am I not pretty enough for your snobbish friends? Will your lover be the father of the children you refuse to have with me? And what were you planning for me? Mercy intimacy every 3 or 4 weeks, like now? No, Nikki, I won't fight it or ask why. I'll let you have what you want. I just won't stick around to watch." Her expression shifted, like she'd just let out an embarrassing noise in public. Tears welled up in her eyes as she stammered, "Lauren said you'd allow it. I thought if I told you ahead of time, you'd agree. I'll forget it, okay? I won't go through with it." "It's too late, Nicole," I said firmly. "You clearly want this, so go ahead. I care about you. But this isn't something I can accept. Even if you change your mind, I'll still be talking to the lawyer on Monday. Your actions have made it clear. You don't care about our marriage, and I suspect you haven't for a long time." Her face paled. "Does Mason know Lauren has a lover?" I continued. "Or will it come as a surprise when I tell him? For your information, I've moved all non-personal assets and company funds into a temporary trust. I'll be drawing a salary of $60,000 a year. Since you refuse to accept part ownership of the company, you won't be able to touch any of it. Consult with your attorney. You'll find that you're out of luck." Finally, I concluded, "I don't want a divorce, Nicole, but this, you've left me no choice." Nicole wailed, her voice filled with desperation. "Why are you doing this to me?" "Because you did this to us," I shouted back, my frustration boiling over. "If you're still planning to go to the dance tonight, you'd better hurry and get ready. While you're there, I'll pack up most of my things, and Junior and I will be gone by the time you return. Just promise me one thing. Don't bring your lover into our bed until I file for divorce." "I don't want a divorce," she screamed. "And what do you mean if I'm going to the dance? Of course we're going. It's your favorite charity. You're on their board of directors. You paid for the tickets, and all of our friends will be there." Her voice broke into sobs. "Please don't do this, Nathan. This was a mistake, an awful mistake. And please don't say anything to Mason. It'll destroy Lauren." I shook my head in disbelief. "You're just swinging and missing tonight, Nikki. You must want a divorce. You want someone else in your bed, don't you? And by the way, it's your favorite charity, not mine. You lobbied to get me on the board, but I've never attended a single meeting. Did I pay for the tickets? Sure, but only because you signed my name on the charge card. These are your friends, not mine. My friends can't stand you. They say you treat them like garbage, like something you stepped in and can't scrape off your shoe." I didn't stop there. "And what about Lauren, huh? Does Mason know she has a lover? What about their kids, Nikki? Do you even know what I do on Tuesday nights when I say I'm out with the guys? We go bowling." "Yes, bowling. We drink beer, we yell, and, heaven forbid, some of us even fart." Nicole's face turned red with anger. Practically screaming, she said, "I couldn't care less about what you and your low-life friends do on Tuesdays. We're going to that dance tonight. We'll smile, we'll make nice, and you'll write a big check. And then we'll forget all about this nonsense. Do you understand?" I stood up, finished my last bite of dinner, and headed upstairs. Nicole, already in the bathroom getting ready, called out, "I laid out your tuxedo and dancing shoes." Ignoring her, I grabbed my old Army barracks bag and duffel bag from the closet and tossed them on the bed, right on top of the tuxedo. Opening the wardrobe, I began stuffing my jeans, flannel shirts, underwear, and anything else I wanted into the bags. Nicole stepped out of the bathroom and froze. Seeing the bags on top of the tux, she shrieked, "Get that stuff off the tuxedo! You'll wrinkle it! You have to look your best at the dance." "Wrong again, Nikki," I said, my voice cold. "I don't have to look my best. Junior doesn't care. The cottage doesn't care. And honestly, I don't care. I'm not going to the dance. After tonight, the only time I'll talk to you is through, or in the presence of, my lawyer. Enjoy the dance, and tell Mason I'm sorry about Lauren. By the way, does Lauren know Mason bowls?" Without waiting for her response, I finished packing the duffel bag and carried it out to my truck. When I came back inside, Nicole was sitting at the dining table, twirling her wedding ring around her finger. I paused, took off my own wedding band, and placed it in front of her on the table. I never wanted this house, this car, or the country club life. All I ever wanted was a loving wife, a family, and to be a good provider. At least I got the provider part right. Nicole cried softly as I continued, "From now on, you can contact me through the company email. I'll be staying at the cottage. There's no phone or internet there. You wouldn't know, of course, since you've refused to go, despite me inviting you at least 3 times a year since I built it." I returned upstairs to finish packing. With everything I needed loaded into the truck, I grabbed a travel mug of coffee, let Junior out of his kennel, and we drove away. The cottage was just as I remembered it, a peaceful escape surrounded by 15 acres of fenced yard. Junior was in heaven, racing around with unrestrained joy. The cottage's airlock entrance with dog doors made it perfect for him. After opening the windows, unblocking the dog doors, and turning on the electricity, I collapsed into my old, tattered recliner. It wasn't much to look at, but it was comfortable. Sitting there, I replayed the events of the evening in my mind. What was Nicole thinking? Did she honestly believe I would tolerate her proposal? Maybe she didn't care, or maybe her so-called friends like Lauren had influenced her. Lauren always acted superior, looking down on me despite her husband working for my company. Plugging in my phone, I noticed something new. There was now a decent signal at the cottage. It wasn't great, but it was good enough. I had known about the new cell tower going up a few miles down the road, and it was clear it had finally gone live. I also had satellite TV installed, figuring I'd be staying at the cottage for a while. Satellite internet was next on my list. After everything that had happened, I let the dust settle and went to bed with Junior curled up on the floor next to me. Around 5:30 in the morning, I woke to the sound of a ringing phone. It took a moment to register that it was my cell phone. By the time I reached it, the call had already gone to voicemail. Lying back down, I tried to drift off again, but the phone rang a second time before I could settle in. This time, I managed to answer. On the other end was a police desk sergeant asking if I was the husband of Nicole Ward. When I confirmed that I was, he requested that I come to the station to clear up some things. Concerned, I asked if Nicole was hurt. He assured me she wasn't. I followed up by asking if this questioning would be formal. When he said yes, I responded, Then I'll be there with my attorney as soon as I can coordinate with him. The sergeant thanked me and said that would be fine. No sooner had I ended the call than the phone rang yet again. This time, it was Mason. He was laughing as he recounted the drama that had unfolded overnight. According to him, Nicole and Lauren had gotten into a drunken screaming match, which escalated into a knockdown, drag-out fight. Both women ended up arrested. Nicole was currently in jail, while Lauren was in the police ward at Memorial Hospital. Mason explained that the fight was over lovers and husbands, though he didn't know all the details. Apparently, Lauren had played some kind of prank on Nicole, leading Nicole to scream that Lauren had ruined her marriage. Mason asked if I knew what they had been fighting about. I told him that Nicole and I had a disagreement, and that was why I hadn't attended the event. Beyond that, I said I had no idea. I also mentioned the police call and expressed hope that Lauren would recover. Before ending the call, I told Mason we'd catch up at work tomorrow. As soon as I hung up, the phone rang once more. This time, it was Nicole. She was crying, her words slurred and barely understandable. I told her I'd come to the station as soon as I could get hold of my lawyer. She admitted she hadn't thought about contacting one yet, but said she'd be fine with Jordan Campbell, my lawyer, representing her. Nicole wasn't even sure what charges she was facing beyond being drunk and disorderly. I repeated that I'd be there as soon as possible and ended the call. I managed to track down Jordan at his golf course and explain the situation, including the police call and their intention to question me officially. Jordan agreed to meet me at the station around 1 in the afternoon. Before hanging up, he warned me not to answer any questions and to advise Nicole to do the same until he was present. For the first time that morning, the phone stayed silent. I fed Junior and filled his water dish, feeling a pang of guilt as his disappointed eyes followed me. He clearly wanted to come along, but this wasn't the time. When I arrived at the police station, Jordan was already there, along with Mason and a man I didn't recognize. The stranger introduced himself as Lauren's cousin and a lawyer. We were met by a group of detectives who asked Jordan and me to step into an interrogation room. I raised a hand to stop them and said firmly, "Before we go anywhere, I need answers. What is my wife being held for? And why am I being treated like a suspect? I came here voluntarily, and if you don't answer these questions, I'm walking out that door." Jordan chimed in, his tone sharp and professional. "Those are valid questions. If you fail to provide answers, I will have a writ of habeas corpus in hand within 15 minutes. And if your answers aren't satisfactory, I'll advise my client to say nothing further." The detective bristled, but Jordan's intervention kept things in check. The ball was now in their court. As Jordan was finishing his speech, a captain walked into the lobby, immediately noticing the tension. He approached and asked if there was any trouble. The detective, clearly frustrated, replied, "No trouble," before apologizing to me. "I'm sorry, it's just been a rough day. It's my son's birthday, and I'm stuck dealing with a drunk and disorderly case." The captain raised an eyebrow and asked, "Is this about the catfight at the Mirage Country Club last night?" He even used air quotes as he spoke. The detective confirmed it was. Shaking his head, the captain said, "All right, let's make this simple. Everyone can go home as soon as the damages are paid." He went on to explain that the Mirage reported 3 broken chairs, 2 damaged tables, 6 spilled drinks, and a few customers needing their clothes cleaned or replaced. The total bill so far was under $350. The captain also mentioned that for a first-time drunk and disorderly offense, the fine was $75 or 15 days in jail, or both. With the assault and battery charges withdrawn, the assistant DA had decided to stick with just the fines. The captain handed me a bill for half the damages and Nicole's fine. I requested the full bill instead, explaining that Mason worked for me and didn't need the additional hassle. Knowing Mason, I added, his wife is going to give him an earful about the fight, and he doesn't need more trouble from this. Once I paid, the captain escorted me to Nicole. I couldn't help but pull out my phone and snap a picture of her. She had a cut over her right eye, a black and blue cheek, a swollen left eye, and a lip that looked botched, like a bad plastic surgery attempt. She was dressed in a bright orange jail jumpsuit with large black letters spelling out "Inmate of the City Jail" across the front and back. After snapping the photo, I put my phone away. The captain told me I could return the jumpsuit once Nicole had changed into more suitable clothes. I thanked him, collected Nicole, and led her to my truck. Nicole sniffled softly as we walked, and for some reason, it annoyed me beyond words. "Get in the truck or you're walking," I snapped. "We're not done with this weekend's fiasco yet." As we drove, I added, I can't use Jordan for this anymore, but I'm still finding a divorce attorney. Nicole, still sniffling, climbed into the truck, but made it clear she was uncomfortable, acting as though casual contact with the vehicle might infect her with some deadly disease. I ignored it. When we arrived at the house, I told her to go inside, change clothes, and bring the jumpsuit back to me. She hesitated, asking, "Aren't you coming in?" "No," I replied flatly. "It's not my house anymore, and I don't think I ever want to set foot in that place again. I still have to come back for the rest of my things, but I don't want you here when I do. If there's something you think I took that you want, our lawyers can negotiate over it. Now go change. I need to get back to Junior in the cottage." At that, she snapped. "You think more of that goddamn dog than you do of me." "Yes," I said without hesitation. "Junior doesn't want to take a lover, and he likes the cottage. That already puts him 2 points ahead of you right now. So quit while you're behind." I sighed, letting my anger settle a bit, and continued. "Nikki, you used to enjoy the things I love. You liked fishing, spending time at the lake, even getting into that ratty first boat I had. You used to enjoy bowling. And I remember you played touch football with the people from the plant. You were a great softball player. Was it the money that changed my loving, fun wife into a social climbing shrew? Saying you were going to take a lover was just the last straw. Look, if it's money you want, I'll give you a check for $5 million tomorrow. All I ask is that you sign the divorce papers. That way, you can keep climbing the social ladder to your heart's content. But if money isn't what matters to you, then go inside, change into jeans, sneakers, and a flannel shirt, and come with me to the cottage." I paused for a moment, letting my words sink in before finishing. "This is your last chance. I'm canceling the country club membership, resigning from all those pointless charities, and giving up the opera tickets. If you walk out of that house and get in this truck, maybe, just maybe, we'll have a chance. But if you don't, I'll write the check, finalize the divorce, and you'll never see me again." I looked away for a moment before adding, "I didn't tell you before because you never seemed interested, but I'm in the process of transferring ownership of the company to the employees. I'll keep the patents and consult as needed, but I need a new challenge. Making more money, isn't it? I'm thinking of buying a large piece of land and starting an experimental nonprofit wind farm to explore more efficient alternatives to current wind technology." I explained to Nicole that I was also using some of my wealth to support a young researcher working on a groundbreaking water desalination project. His goal was to create a low-cost, energy-efficient way to turn seawater into drinkable water for the world's poorest countries. Additionally, he was developing methods to clean contaminated water in areas with unsafe drinking supplies. "Nicole," I said, "even after funding this project and others like it, the check I'll write for you won't even put a dent in my finances. You knew we were wealthy, but you never knew how wealthy." Her mouth hung open and her good eye widened to the size of a saucer as she processed my words. Finally, she said, "Please give me 15 minutes to pack." Laughing, I replied, 15 minutes? That'll be a miracle. Here's what you're taking. 1 pair of jeans, 1 set of underwear, 1 shirt, 1 pair of socks, and 2 pairs of comfy shoes. No heels because tomorrow we're heading to Walmart to get you a new wardrobe." Nicole laughed softly and asked, "Can I at least bring a purse and some makeup?" "Yes to the purse, no to the makeup," I said. "You don't need it, and besides, with that beat-up face, it wouldn't help much. Bring some warm pajamas, though. The cabin gets chilly at night." To my surprise, she was out of the house in about 10 minutes, carrying a bag and even managing what looked like a smile, hard to tell with her swollen lip. As we drove back toward the police station, I teased her, "You look like you went 3 rounds with Roy Jones." She gave a playful punch to my arm and began to recount her misadventure. "Nathan, I was devastated when you left. Lauren, my ex-friend by the way, said you'd be fine with it and made it sound so exciting. She told me this kind of thing was becoming common in our social circle, and like an idiot, I believed her. After you left, I started feeling like something wasn't right. I called a cab and went to the country club for the dance, hoping for answers. Mason and Lauren were there, along with some of our other friends. When I told Ashley Bell that I'd told you I was taking a lover, she gave me this disgusted look and said, 'I'll bet Lauren put you up to that. She's tried that nonsense on all of us, but you're the only one dumb and naive enough to actually fall for it.' I'll bet Nathan loved hearing that. That's when I lost it. I got totally drunk and confronted Lauren. She just laughed and said, 'If you were stupid enough to believe that, I've got a beach house in Taos, New Mexico, to sell you.' Nicole took a deep breath and continued. I was furious. I grabbed a centerpiece, threw the water and flowers at her, and screamed that she'd ruined my marriage. That's when she grabbed my hair, and the fight was on. She hit me a few good times, but I managed to land one solid punch. She went down and hit her head on a table, knocking herself out cold. The cops showed up and arrested both of us. They took me to jail and sent Lauren to the hospital. Around 5 in the morning, they let me make a call, so I called Mason to apologize. He told me he hadn't had so much fun since the company outing, where you had to rescue me after I panicked in 18 inches of water. He also said Lauren had been mean-spirited lately, and that he was glad I took her down a peg. Mason mentioned a new cell tower near your cottage, so I tried calling you. The first time, it went to voicemail. The second time, I got a busy signal. I finally got through and, well, the rest is history. Nicole turned to me, her voice soft and filled with regret. Nathan, I'm sorry for all the trouble I caused. I love you. I'm not even considering someone else. I know what I said, and now I see how selfish, stupid, and hurtful it was. Can you forgive me? I sighed, the weight of the moment pressing down on me. I can't forgive you, at least not right now. You still haven't answered the questions I asked about your feelings for me. I think once this is calmed down, we need to either see a marriage counselor or get a divorce. Nikki, I don't like the person you've become. I understand that people change, but why did you change the things that used to make you happy? Nicole hesitated, then replied, I guess I lost sight of what and who is important. I'll go to counseling with you, Nathan. I don't want a divorce. I'm so sorry I've neglected you lately. You're a kind and considerate partner, and I never want to lose that. Now that this brain fart of mine is over, I just want us to fix this. I'll do everything I can to make it up to you, Nicole said, her voice filled with regret. I'm so sorry it took all this trouble for me to realize my mistake. One more thing. If we go to marriage counseling, I'm going to insist we sell that monstrosity of a house. 2 people don't need a 12-bedroom mansion. We've never even had a guest stay over, and people tell me they're uncomfortable there. It's not a home. It's just a house. I nodded, a mix of sadness and resignation filling me. Nikki, I haven't had fun with you in years. My Tuesday night outings and weekends at the cottage have been my escape. I still want you as much as I did on the day I said, I do. But I'm tired of seeing everything important to your friends become important to you. If you need the house, the $100,000 car, or the country club to be happy, then you don't need me. I continued. The cottage is small, isolated, and sits by a quiet lake. While I'm at work tomorrow, think about what you want from here on out. I forgive you, but I'm still hurt. I can't believe you thought I'd be so weak as to let you disrespect me like that. As I turned onto the cottage's access road, I saw a forest ranger blocking the way. It was Logan, someone I dealt with before. A decent, conscientious guy. Hi, Logan. Is there a problem? I asked. No, Mr. Ward, he replied. One of the rangers spotted car lights on the road last night, and we wanted to check it out. Connor's on the ATV cross-country, and I'm blocking the road to make sure no one gets out. My cheeks flushed red. Logan, that was me. I had so much on my mind that I forgot to notify the station. Let Connor and the others know I'll buy them a drink the next time I see them off duty. Logan radioed Connor to call off the search, then moved his truck to unblock the road. Nicole, puzzled, asked, What was that all about? I explained. The property is surrounded by a national forest, and the access road used to be a firebreak trail. It cuts through sensitive wildlife habitat, so the rangers ask me to notify them when I'm up here to keep out poachers and illegal growers. Is it dangerous up here? She asked. There are occasional black bears, I replied. But if you don't leave garbage outside, they won't come near. The cottage has a composting station that's accessible only from inside. Any organic waste goes there. I paused, then added, A year ago, some pot growers tried to use the land for planting. I fired rock salt at them with a shotgun, and the noise scared them off. They even left behind the plants they'd started. Nicole laughed, then fell silent as the cottage came into view. Her expression turned to awe. This is beautiful, she said. If the inside is as nice as the outside, I understand why you love it here. What's it like inside? I smiled. You'll have to see for yourself. It's 4 rooms, but it's built into a hillside, so the total footprint is about 350 square feet above ground. The kitchen is 20 by 10 feet, and the L-shaped multi-purpose room is 46 feet by 28 feet at its longest sides. The 2 bedrooms are 14 by 20 feet, not including the walk-in closets and ensuite baths. Her mouth dropped open. This is a cottage? I never said it was shabby, I teased. I built it because I knew you liked your creature comforts. Too bad you never wanted to see it. It was supposed to be your 5th anniversary present. Tears welled up in her eyes. You built this for me? How could I have been so stupid and hurt you the way I did? Marriage counseling proved to be helpful. We sold the McMansion, and I purchased a modest 4-bedroom house on 10 acres in a new development aimed at middle-class families looking to escape the city. Nicole was attentive for about 2 years, but then the old patterns crept back in. She asked if we could join the local Habitat for Humanity chapter to work on projects in the city. I agreed, and we signed up. To my surprise, I rediscovered my love for working with my hands. By the time we completed our 3rd house, an officer from the chapter approached me. He said, "Nicole told me about the great work you did while on the board of that other charity." I laughed and shook my head at the officer from Habitat for Humanity. "Not interested," I told him, picking up my tools. "You just lost a volunteer." I waved to Nicole, saw her smiling as if nothing was wrong, and walked to my truck. Without a word, I drove back to the cottage. On the way, I stopped at the house. I left my cell phone on the kitchen table, packed up my ratty clothes, grabbed the dog food, every beer in the fridge, and whistled for Junior. He came bounding over, and we left. About 12 hours later, Nicole pulled up in a cab. She stepped out and announced, "Pay the driver." I laughed bitterly. Not happening. 1, I don't have much cash on me. 2, I didn't hire him. And 3, I'm not interested in why you're reverting to your social climbing ways, but I'm not standing for it. I paused, then added, "If you want to get back in that cab and go back to the house that used to be ours, I'll hand the driver all the cash I'm carrying and hit the ATM tomorrow. After that, I don't need to hear from you again." I approached the cab driver and saw the meter wasn't even running. "What did she promise you?" I asked. "She said I'd get $150, all for me," he replied. I handed him $225 in cash. "Here's the deal. I'm bringing her back to this cab, and you're taking her to the address I give you. If I see you, or any car from your company, on my property again, I won't hesitate to shoot out a radiator or radio. Do we understand each other?" The driver nodded. "Wait no more than 15 minutes, I added. "I need to have a quick chat with my soon-to-be ex-wife." I grabbed Nicole by the arm, pulled her into the cottage, and said sternly, "Sit down, don't speak until I'm finished. When I'm done, you're getting in that cab and going back to the house. Clear?" I walked to the kitchen, grabbed my checkbook, and wrote her a check for $7 million. Placing it in front of her, I said, "This is more than I promised, but you stayed out of your social climbing nonsense for 2 extra years, so consider it a bonus. Don't cash it until tomorrow. I need to move funds to cover it." I added coldly, "Now, I'm walking you out to that cab. You'll get in and leave my life. Didn't the last mistake in counseling teach you anything? Take this check and climb as high as it'll get you. Let's go." I escorted her to the cab, my shotgun slung over my shoulder. I told the driver, "Don't come back." Nicole climbed in, and I watched them disappear down the road. 6 months passed without a word from Nicole. She hadn't even cashed the check. Then, one day while I was working on another Habitat house in the city, she showed up. "Can we talk?" she asked. I sighed, and told the foreman and director that I was done for the day. I turned to Nicole. "What is there to talk about? I've told you 1,000 times to stop trying to move up in status. That check I gave you should have been status enough." She looked down and said quietly, "I miss you, and there are things you need to know." I scoffed. "Miss me? Funny, I didn't hear the company phone ring. I didn't read the letter you never sent. You didn't come to my office asking for an appointment. Oh, right. I'm the guy who wouldn't let his wife take a lover. I'm the guy who made her sell the McMansion after she promised to stop social climbing. I'm the guy who built her a beautiful cottage for an anniversary present she never cared to see. What could we possibly have to talk about without a divorce lawyer present?" Nicole wilted under my words, tears streaming down her face. She turned and walked back to her car. After a few moments, she composed herself, got in, and drove away. The next day, I contacted a lawyer and started divorce proceedings. I explained everything and told him, "I just want out. She can have the house, the cottage, and $10 million if she signs the papers. All I need are my dog, my truck, and a 45-day head start before she comes looking for me." The lawyer reminded me that we were in a no-fault state, and would need to provide all financial records. I smirked and said, "Fine, she'll get a mortgaged house, nothing from the cottage, and $30,000, my entire savings. Everything else is owned by the trust and untouchable." I made it clear I didn't want any direct contact with Nicole. "All correspondence goes through you," I told the lawyer. He assured me he'd file the papers and have her served by the end of the week. Nicole must have gotten the message because she signed the papers without a fight. She refused the check, sold the house, and sent me the deed for the cottage through my lawyer. I never heard from her again. The cottage, it's still mine, and it's never been more peaceful. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, comment, and hit that subscribe button for more of Love, Lust, Lies.